Good morning and welcome to Coffee Chat with David and Kylie Knight.
Hey everybody, it's so good to see you this morning. Today is Friday, November the 13th.
Yeah, or the 6th, depending on
2020.
On whether or not David actually
just listen
made
to this
the changes he was supposed to.
Of
well, that all kind of actually fits in with today, doesn't it? And we got Josh Kohler watching us with he's so good.
He does all those hashtags that we ask of people.
We love it.
Cup of
Thank you.
Awesome, hashtag Hello Nights. Thank you, Josh, and good morning to you. So good to have you with us.
It
is.
Is
anyone else watching, please be sure to say hello as well.
That's right. And always be sure to... or it's not going to work today.
Yes, it does.
Welcome to Friday the 13th, friends. Welcome. Be sure to like and share. It's one of those days.
It seems to be.
Oh my goodness.
We have a couple of stories to share with you guys this morning.
So, okay. Well, should we talk about our week first?
Sure.
And then get to end on the down note.
Wow.
So, last week, Friday the 13th in 2020. What a year!
Yes.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth?
We will get to that. Not superstitious, but wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay.
So last week, my brother was in town.
Yeah.
It was his daughter's birthday, and so we actually got to spend Friday evening with them. We went out to a hibachi restaurant, which was so much fun.
She loved it.
Oh my goodness, she had such a blast.
Yeah.
Well, she's learning Japanese on her own,
which is incredible. She's teaching herself Japanese.
Yeah.
Partly because she's into the whole
anime and manga and that whole thing. So
yeah, so she's one smart little cookie.
She is. So we thought, hey, let's do hibachi with her, and it was a lot of fun. It's her birthday, and they they did a big celebration and all that. And then Saturday we did Saturday morning pancakes, as we always do.
Yeah.
And kind of it was relaxing. Oh, we had an interview that day with. You may not be aware of this, but there are several magic organizations around the world.
Yeah.
And we were asked to be a guest on the international... Joshua St. John says, Konnichiwa.
Ah.
Somebody else knows Japanese.
Yes, that's about all I know.
And domo arigato.
Exactly.
And sushi. We were asked to be guests on an interview show that they do for the International Assembly of the Society of American Magicians.
Yeah, which is apparently a big deal. I didn't even know this was going on, and it was very strange.
I sprung it on her.
They interviewed us instead of us interviewing somebody else like we've been doing nearly all year long. We got to be interviewed.
We did.
For like an hour.
Yeah, and it was really great.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing is they interviewed big names in magic. People you probably don't know, but in the world of magic, they're very well known.
Big deal.
Yeah. It was so cool, and we got to talk about Uganda shoe trees, and they loved that. And so we got a lot of interest.
For nothing else, I'm very excited that we brought more awareness to Uganda shoe trees, and I think we got some donations from it.
That's right. So we're
great.
very excited about that. Sunday, my brother left, and then we went to go do a show out in Palestine, Texas, and it was awesome. Awesome experience.
Those people right there. I feel like I have a whole new family out there now.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah, we had so many people say, hey, if you guys want to make this your home church and drive 2.5 hours every week for church, come on. Tempting.
But
they're great people.
We have a wonderful home church as we are.
We love our home
and I don't
church.
feel like driving 2.5 hours each way.
No, as good as the service would be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But and additionally, the team that's there, you may remember we interviewed Cody and Jeremy Reeves a few weeks back.
Yeah, the band.
The band Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's their church.
Yeah.
It was just a wonderful experience. And we heard so many good stories afterwards.
Yeah.
Which was such a pleasure.
They were doing a big fall outreach, so they had the bounce houses. They were serving up burgers and things like
burgers
that.
Were good.
Really, really good.
So good.
And that was all outside, and then they came inside for our show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good
We had
night.
a blast. It was a good night. And then what? Then the rest of the week's been kind of working.
Yeah.
We got some new merch in. We have stickers now.
Look at these little stickers.
I love
D&K.
Yeah, little D&K stickers. I love these. Actually, you may know I'm a huge Apple fanboy, and I love having my little silver Apple logo on my MacBook Pro. But this covers it now.
I don't know if you guys realize what a big deal that is, because he doesn't cover Apple at all.
I don't.
But
I use Apple to cover other things. I use little Apple stickers to cover different things.
So,
but anyway,
that's on their computer now.
Yep. So, and these are going to be available at our merch table.
They will.
And they're great. They're a lot of fun. We have some other merch coming in. And then let me see if I can pull this up. We woke up. Was this yesterday or the day before? I think it was the article.
Oh, yeah, like 2 days ago, I think.
Okay. We woke up to an article. Oh, goodness, that shouldn't be there. That's all right. We're going to mute you. There you go. We woke up to this really cool article in a magazine called Voyage Dallas.
Shout
out
DFW.
Yep. See it right there at the top.
Yep.
And it was a nice article about us. We were very pleased.
Keep scrolling.
Yeah. And they had some good things to say about us.
They
some
did
beautiful
an interview
pictures.
with us and then typed it all up and grabbed some photos, and the whole article is right there.
Yeah.
So that was a fun surprise.
Yeah. So you guys we posted a link to that, so you guys can check that out and see it. It was a great article, a lot of fun.
Yes.
We really enjoyed that, and we're honored to be named America's premier Christian illusionist team, which is nice. And then let's see, we got a couple of Kirk says, funny, Jared Coe pulled me into loving Apple. Well, you should thank him.
Yes, you have him to thank.
Jared deserves a cup of coffee for that.
Absolutely.
Joshua St. John says, I took one semester of Japanese. I can remember hello, good afternoon, and how to count to 6.
Oh.
You're doing better than me. And Josh Kohler says, you're both so famous. I don't know about that, but...
In our own little lunchbox, maybe.
I'm not famous, but I play one on TV.
All right, so then...
And then yesterday, right, yep, go ahead.
We went out, and it's been a while since we bought a new pair of, like, running shoes, tennis shoes.
2 years.
I wasn't going to say how long.
Oh, sorry.
We were going to get them, like...
Last year.
No, around early March, I think. I was planning on getting them. But then everything shut down. I'm like, well, I'm not going very far, so I probably don't need a running shoe. Or very fast, so I don't need running shoes. And then it's like, well, it's time now. Shoes were falling apart, so we went and got some shoes. So that was fun, and now we're running fast. We would post a video, but it's so fast you don't even see
us. It's amazing. Yeah, it's crazy. And then we came home.
Yes.
And so our neighbor upstairs, who we love dearly, apparently is having some work done on his apartment. And we came home, and there was standing water in our bathroom.
Yeah.
On the floor, and we're like...
Well, earlier in the day, we'd heard the noise, and we knew that he was getting, like, carpet in.
Yeah, new flooring or something.
And I didn't know if it was just patching the hole from the bullet coming through.
The bullet.
Remember that story from back in July? If not, you can search for that, and you'll see photos of the bullet in our ceiling. Fun story. Anyway, so I didn't know if they were just patching that all up with the carpet or doing the whole thing, and it just kept going with the noise and banging, bang, bang. I'm like, I think they're doing the entire apartment. Does that mean he moved out?
We haven't seen him in a while.
We haven't seen him
in a while.
Maybe he's gone, but we didn't see him leave, so we don't know what's going on. And so we left for several hours, come home, banging still going on. Mm-hmm. Go into the bathroom, and there's water everywhere. There's some in our bathtub, there's some on our floor, and it even seeped out onto our balcony.
Yeah, I went outside, and I noticed that there was, like, pools of water out on our balcony. Mm-hmm. So, submitted a request to get that fixed. And this morning, yeah, Josh, yes, I thought this was the same name as the famous bullet. That's right.
Yes, it is.
You got it. And then this morning,
but we don't think it's his fault because he hasn't been home.
He hasn't been home. Yeah.
So,
and then last night you took a bath and you said you heard.
I'm laying there and I'm like, there's some noise going on, and we were still baffled by how this water came to be in our bathroom.
Yeah.
There was no obvious thing going on. I'm looking around. I don't see anything. I'm like, I don't know how this water got there. So we cleaned it all up. And I'm like, I needed a bath. So I took a bath and I'm hearing this noise. I'm like, what is that noise? So I didn't rest very well. And then this morning, I'm hearing this noise again. I'm listening. I'm like trying to figure out where it's coming from. And there is a light in our ceiling near our bathtub. Okay, so there's some over our sink, and then there's a separate one near our bathtub and shower. So I'm like, I think it's coming from there, and I'm looking down from there. I'm like, that's about where the puddle of water was. So I'm like, David. Oh yeah, then I went to the light switch, and I was listening for the sound. I turned the lights off. Noise stopped. Turned the light switch on. Noise started. So I did that a couple of times. I'm like, I think there is water in our light bulb. What do you call those?
The fixture.
Fixture. Mm-hmm. Thank you. So I'm like, David, I think I've solved the water mystery in our bathroom. I said, you're going to have to shut things off because I think there's a whole lot of water that has been buzzing around with electricity. And we know how good electricity and water go together. And that's what David found right there.
This globe that, there's a light bulb that goes in the top of it. I don't know why I'm trying to use my cursor to show you guys. Anyways, this whole globe fixture was filled with water. You could see it. It's literally to the top of that thing.
So we think that something happened upstairs. Water came down into that, gushed over, landed on our floor in our tub, and then was so much that it poured outside and yeah.
Well, and the area around in the ceiling around the water fixture is all
damp and starting to sink.
So
we think that our ceiling may cave in at some point.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Wow, is right. Yes, wow. So we've put in a request going, we have a problem. So we decided to move to the other bathroom to finish getting ready this morning, just in case water came down and we're not turning on that light switch.
Right. Josh Kohler says, nice detective work, Kylie.
Thank you.
You are like Batman. Does that make me your Robin?
Batman?
He's the world's greatest detective.
He is?
You didn't know? I have failed. I have failed people.
Sure.
Okay, well, but they're not here to hear about this.
No.
They are here to hear from our amazing guest.
I'm very, very excited.
Because
it's our favorite topic.
It is our favorite topic. We devoted a whole show to it. We mentioned...
second favorite topic.
Oh, what's your first?
Jesus.
There you go. We didn't devote a whole show to Jesus. We should do that. It's a good idea.
Let's get on with our guest.
Let's go. So anyways, we mentioned this guy a few weeks back. We told you that he was a wizard because he got Kylie to drink a full cup of black coffee and
without making the face.
Without making that face. As cute as that face is. And so anyways, we decided we needed to bring him on because we have to get down to the bottom of his amazing secrets. And so we have him here with us today.
So if you like coffee, stay with us.
Get ready. He is the owner of, he's starting his own business called CōFFEE because his name is Jared Coe, which I love.
Isn't that so brilliant?
So smart.
Brilliant.
So smart. So we hope you guys will welcome our friend and now yours, Mr. Jared Coe.
Woo woo!
Hello, my friend.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Hey.
Good to see you there.
It's really good to be with you guys. It's good to see you too.
Thanks.
I need to get one of your stickers because I
we can
like
do that.
to sticker things up.
I think we can make that happen.
Oh, yes.
It's not a Bluetooth speaker. This is my coffee mug. I carry it with me all the time, constantly, and I only have one sticker. It's very lonely. It's our church's Frisco Bible Church sticker.
But it's a good sticker.
I need more.
You do? Well, I think we can make that happen.
We can.
Excellent.
Because we've got something amazing from you.
We do.
Which is...
That's true. That was a good one.
Coffee.
This is so good.
This is the Rwanda. This is the same coffee bean that I drank black. And it is incredible, both as a regular black and as a latte through our espresso machine. So if you want some, please let us know because we can get that to you.
That's right. Well, hey, let's jump into this. I know you've got a lot going on, and we appreciate your time this morning.
I'm happy to be here.
You want to kick things off?
You can.
Okay, so you just mentioned your church. We met you working at along with student ministry. What is your faith story? How did you come to know Jesus?
I actually grew up in the church. My parents were part of a really small church in Edgewood, Washington. At the time, it was called Jovita Baptist Church, and I was in my car carrier on the second row, right in the aisle, the very first Sunday that I was alive. My parents took me to church immediately, so I grew up going to that little church, hearing the gospel constantly, and was part of that church. Was part of the group that actually started the youth group there, which was really cool. When I was in 6th grade, we started going over to one of my friends' houses and hanging out, and that's how our youth group got started. But I grew up just thinking I knew everything because I was always around the Bible. So I knew what the Bible had to say. And it was some part of the fabric of my life. But it wasn't really until like late middle school, high school that it was more than just what I knew in my head and actually became something that I was passionate about, and Jesus became Lord and not just Savior. And Savior's enough, absolutely, but I also was at that point committed to, okay, if this is true, what does this mean for me? And then when I graduated high school, I was going to go to college and major in computer science and be a geek and that kind of stuff. And then I learned that I'm really not good at programming or computer science really actually is. I love technology. I love computers and networking and all that stuff that's included in that. But that wasn't what God had for me. It wasn't what he called me to do. And it was made really clear to me on a mission trip when that story's crazy. But I mean, the short of it is that a number of people approached me after an event that we had wrapping up the mission trip, and God used them in my life to point me in a completely different direction. And I've been involved in ministry ever since, whether it was Young Life, Youth for Christ, church youth group ministry, worship ministry, whatever it might be. I've been involved in ministry one way, shape, or form or another, and been involved in church ministry for many, many years now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I love, we keep hearing this same sort of thing over and over, that there's a lot of people who kind of have that early church experience without really recognizing how it impacts them.
Exactly.
And then they come to that later in life. And then obviously the other people kind of pointing you, where people see something in you that you probably didn't see in yourself and help give you that direction.
Not at all. I would have not imagined it. The first couple of people that were like, hey, thank you for sharing that. Have you ever thought about being a pastor? I was like, never. No. Why would I?
Right.
And then I kept getting the exact same question. And that was just on that trip. And then when I got home from the trip, I met a friend from high school who was 1 year behind me, and we were just met in the lobby of high school, and we sat down on the bench. I was like, I think God's calling me to be a pastor. And she looked at me and she was like, I could have told you that. I was like, well, why didn't you? And she goes, would you have listened?
Oh.
No, that's a fair point.
Wow. Whew. Oh, that's really good. That's really good.
That is good.
Well, Kirk says that Jared Coe is honestly the best dude on the planet.
Yes.
followed up with,
Kirk
and he is a
the
geek.
best dude on the planet.
And he is a geek there.
We get to revel in our geekdom. Kirk and I have a number of stories from when we worked together and helped lead worship together at our church in Oregon, and we've been through the ringer.
So we need Kirk on.
Kirk gets to, oh my goodness, if you want some stories, you need.
Ooh.
Oh, hey Kirk, you need to send us a message and we need to talk.
Seriously, Kirk would be a fantastic guy to have on Coffee Talk.
Oh, I love that.
Okay,
I love that.
awesome.
Very cool. And apparently we've got another experience similar to yours. Joshua St. John says, same. Computer science was another one semester class. So
I actually got my minor in computer science. I just bore through it. Like I had good friends that helped me through all the coding and stuff. When I did networking, that was super fun. I did what I thought was going to be graphic design. I did computer graphics. I was wrong. Computer graphics was like Java 3D. And I got into that class. And I was like, what is this? This is awful. I made it through. My professor was incredibly gracious and helpful. And I did get my minor in computer science. Okay. It's been really helpful. But no, that is not the path that God had me on.
No, he's just shaking his head.
I love that. It's awesome.
Well, we are glad that you are where you are because it's an honor to know you. Absolutely. And we also know that you are an avid fan of coffee, as we have mentioned.
But not Java 3D, just Java regular.
Yeah, exactly.
Like your shirt.
I like coffee.
Yes, you do.
Oh wait, hang on. I'm gonna pull up your.
So this is the Chemex. I use this every single day. Like this has become a morning ritual. I make a pot of this and then I sit down and read my Bible as I sip on it. And what I make is going to be different each day depending on what I feel like drinking, whether it's going to be the Rwandan that you guys have or the Ethiopian that I'm drinking this morning, or I just roasted some Java. Oh my goodness, it's really good. Or I got some coffee from Yemen, and holy cow, it's so very different from like the Ethiopian, and which Ethiopia and Yemen are actually really, really close to each other. So the fact that their coffees are very different is really interesting. It's fun to find out why. So there's the Chemex, and this one's one of my favorites too. It's the mocha pot. It's this little Italian deal. It makes like espresso strength coffee, but it makes like a full cup of it. So if you need something at night, hey, here you go. It's a good one.
Well, in case you haven't heard the passion in Jared's voice as he talks about coffee,
right?
You can hear it in him as he shows off all of these devices. So let's ask, how did that get started for you, the love of coffee, and what do you love about the bean? Yeah.
For a long, long time, I was the latte drinker, like the white chocolate mocha, because I couldn't handle anything beyond that. I was totally like the, Starbucks, give me the frou-frou coffee. But then I did a fundraiser for a blood water mission, and I didn't drink anything but water for 40 days. And that was a totally different experience. And so my wife bought me a bag of coffee to break that, and she hid it in the cabinet, like behind stuff, so I couldn't see it. But when that broke that fast, I didn't have any cream or sugar. Like we had sugar in the house, but I didn't have any milk or cream, and so I was like, I'll just try it black, I guess, and see. And I've never gone back. Like,
wow, just like
from that point on, it was just like black coffee. That's it. Give it to me the way it was intended to be. I don't want to desecrate it with anything. Like, I just want it black. And then a guy in our church, John, he one Christmas gave me a popcorn popper and some green coffee beans. And so I opened up that gift. He gave me like 5 pounds of coffee beans and this little popcorn popper with instructions on this is what you need to modify to make a popcorn popper roast coffee. And so my dad and I took it all apart. He's an engineer, and I like to take things apart. So we worked on that together very well. And took it apart, we took the regulator off so it got hot enough, but we ended up melting the popcorn popper because it got too hot. So we had to go get another one. I actually burned through 3 popcorn poppers. One lasted quite a while, lasted a couple of years, and then I burned through that one just roasting coffee, little tiny batches of coffee at the same time. And you can watch it turn from green to yellow, and then as it goes, it will like the gas in it it really starts to expand. And so you'll hear the coffee bean crack like popcorn pops. It'll crack and you get to listen to it and watch as it changes color. It's super fun. And then inside of each coffee bean, there's this little piece of chaff. And as it cracks open, the chaff flies out. So it makes a huge mess. If you try to roast coffee in your kitchen, you will regret it because the cleanup process is so long. So I would roast coffee outside on the patio. I had this popcorn popper and an oil lamp flute to keep the coffee beans inside of it, and then a little dowel that I would use to stir it. So I would do this, and then our 7-year-old son, he's 7 now, but right after he was born, he was a baby. Once he was big enough for me to just hold him, I would take him outside and hold him and roast coffee. He's now right along with me. He's totally a coffee nerd. He drinks his coffee black. Which is, don't judge me.
No. I'm like, mind blowing. I think that's amazing.
I'm impressed.
I have no idea who's watching this. I don't abuse my son. I give him coffee. I think it's I give him a little espresso shot glass of black coffee, and he's just like, it's the best thing. It's so fun. I've got great pictures of him pinky up.
Pinky up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I started with the popcorn popper, and then I burned those out, and then it was like, well, and actually it was a financial decision because I can get green coffee far cheaper than I can buy roasted coffee. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it was like, I work for a church. It's not like a huge money making proposition. That was never it for me. This was a way for me to drink coffee that I enjoy as much as I want, and it's actually far cheaper. Yep. And then it's fresh. And so that's how it got started. But then I bought a genuine home roaster. It's a Gene Cafe with a little drum, and it's off axis, and so it moves the beans back and forth as it roasts, and you can actually set the time and the temperature. And so that really upped the level of coffee roasting for me. Like the popcorn popper was great, but this thing changed everything for me because I could control more than just the time.
Because it was actually designed for that.
Yeah. It wasn't designed to just make popcorn for a movie night. And so I started with that, and I used that for 4 years. It was awesome.
Wow.
It worked great, but it could only roast 200 grams at a time. And a pound is 453 grams. And when you roast coffee, you actually lose anywhere from 15 to 20% of the weight when you roast it. So for me to roast a pound took 3 batches. That was over an hour just to get a pound of coffee.
Wow.
But then a friend of ours from our life group, she got a new espresso machine. She was like, "Hey, can I buy some coffee from you? Because I need to know if my coffee is really bad, and I need to know if it's the machine or the coffee." And I was like, "Oh." So I brought her half a pound and gave it to her. And she called me the next day and said, "Can I get more? It's not the machine. I need more coffee." And so she started buying coffee from me, and then another family started buying coffee from me. And just it's something I do and I enjoy doing, so I just did it. And then a number of other people started wanting more coffee that was fresh. So
including us.
I was like, yeah. So it was I could spend every night roasting coffee for other people, or I can buy something bigger. So I bought something bigger. So now I have this it's a little home roaster, and it's a ton of fun, but I can control it with a computer, and I can set all the parameters and everything, and I can watch, and I can roast a lot more coffee in a short period of time than I could have with the other one. So it's so fun, and there's so much to it. It's mind-boggling how different coffee can be based on where it was grown and how it was processed, the elevation, how you roast it, how you brew it. Every piece of it matters and changes the coffee. Unless it's Starbucks, and then it's just burned.
There it is.
There it is.
Sorry.
You're
no,
good.
it's all good. Well, and I think, it allows you to kind of bring out that geek side of you, right? Like, because you get to tweak and you get to figure out, okay, how does this affect this? And so I think that's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, we mentioned that you are a wizard. You're a wizard, Jared. That you got Kylie to drink a black coffee, which is just mind-blowing to me. So, and you kind of talked about your other friend who was having some issues. So, what are your recommendations for people to help them improve their coffee, make it more palatable, give them that experience at home where they can understand why coffee is so enticing to so many people?
Sure. The first thing would be making sure that you're drinking fresh coffee. Like, get good coffee beans. There's a big difference between the bag you buy at the store, which who knows how long ago that was roasted, and like your local roaster who would roast. Yes, Kirk, I'm throwing shade at Starbucks. Yes. I grew up in Seattle.
That's right.
I can throw some shade at Starbucks and Microsoft in the same sentence.
Wow.
Yes.
Sorry.
That's why we love you.
I grew up building PCs. I was totally a PC geek. I didn't like Apple, and then that's a whole different story for another day. But now, like, you should
Coffee Chat Part 2.
Coffee Tech Chat.
There you go.
Yeah, so the best thing, I think there's two things. One is to make sure you're drinking fresh coffee, because stale coffee is going to be stale. It's not going to have nearly as much flavor as fresh roasted coffee. But the absolute best thing, that if you're just starting from ground zero, from point one, get a grinder, and not one of the blade grinders. Everybody buys the $15, $20 blade grinders, and those are okay. Those are better than nothing. They're better than buying ground coffee, because once you grind the coffee, it actually starts to lose its flavor within 15 minutes.
Within 15 minutes?
Within 15 minutes. So if you buy that bag of ground coffee in the grocery store, it was roasted months ago, it was ground up months ago, and then it's sat on the store shelf for a long time. It's already stale, and it's just going to be flavorless. And so it's going to taste like coffee, but it's going to miss out on the nuanced flavors that you're going to get from something that's fresh roasted. So get a grinder, and the blade grinder, it's better than nothing, but it will pulverize some of it and it will leave big chunks in others. And so the best kind of grinder to get is called a burr grinder, BURR. You can get them anywhere. There's two different kinds of burr grinders. One is a flat burr grinder where it's got the two burrs, they sit on top of each other and then they turn opposite of each other. What I like best is called a conical burr grinder. So it actually has kind of a cone shape, and one burr will fit on top of the other, and they turn against each other. And the benefit of a burr grinder is that it's going to be consistent, and you can set the coarseness of the coffee. So if you're going to do Chemex, you want it to be kind of a medium fine grind. You don't want it to be coarse, because it doesn't have enough time for the flavor to come out of the coffee if it's coarse. On the other hand, if you're going to do a French press, the water and the coffee are going to sit together for a long time, and you have this little filter. You don't want that to be a fine grind, because if it's a fine grind, it's going to go right through that filter. And then you're just drinking soup, which, as much as I love coffee, I don't like coffee-flavored soup.
Soup. Yes.
Here.
So with a burr grinder, you can set the coarseness of the coffee for how you're going to brew it, and that makes a huge difference.
Love it.
Amazing.
So
good knowledge there.
That's great knowledge. Now, Bentley Burns asked a question. On a serious note, I haven't found a coffee I love. Any suggestions? Now, obviously, some of that comes down to the freshness of the bean and how it's ground. Yeah. But is there? And I know he lives in Mississippi.
Yes.
So, is there something you could suggest to somebody who's trying to figure out coffee, or is it just kind of they got to try a bunch of different stuff and figure out what works?
I would try stuff. I'd go to a coffee shop that
not Starbucks.
We have one here. You guys actually had a picture in that article. One of your pictures was at Summer Moon.
Yes.
Because there's the brick wall behind you. That is a great coffee shop here. I love going in there. They actually roast all of their coffee with wood fire. They get it hot with wood fire, and that's how they roast their coffee. And you can actually taste some of that in the coffee.
Yeah,
and so
good.
My recommendation would be to find a local roaster that has a coffee shop and go in and try some different things. Do you like espresso? Do you like it really, really strong? Do you like a lighter coffee or a medium? I like the medium roast. Sometimes if I roast it darker, that's better for espresso, or like the mocha pot. Those are great. But if I'm drinking out of the Chemex, I like a medium roast because I get more of the flavors. Like this Ethiopian is actually really fruity. It's got some really cool fruity notes, and it's completely different than the Rwandan that you guys are drinking this morning. That one's much more nutty and kind of earthy. Still really, really good, but just very different. And so if you find a coffee shop that roasts their own, then I think that gives you the best opportunity to try different things.
It's true.
Good answer. Yeah. So, and you brought up the Chemex. So, what's that?
Because you'll notice that there's a little tag on here from Jared, and he says roasted on. So he puts the date. So that's one thing to look for on coffee, right? Is you check the date when it was roasted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so you mentioned the Chemex, and Joshua St. John says, I have a Chemex, grind my own beans, use a scale, know about weight and ratios, but it's a mess. So, is there something to kind of help people, like you mentioned how the popper made a big mess in the kitchen, so do it outside. And, are there some tips you can give on how people can not be afraid of, because like I read weights and ratios and numbers scare me, so what's like a way that you could help somebody understand how to navigate those sorts of things without like feeling overwhelmed?
I think you just start simple. You try something, and then with Joshua, so Joshua, is it like trying to keep everything straight? Is that a mess, or are you making a mess?
That's a good question.
I make a lot of messes and then have to clean them up. So, but it is like since you have a Chemex, you're grinding your beans, you're using a scale, you're able to kind of set a baseline and then try different things. So for me, I grind up 30 grams of beans in the morning and I use 500 milliliters of water. And then but then I have a baseline, right? So this is what I do every day. I know how it's going to taste. But if I want to try something different, if I want to see what if I use more beans and less water? Am I going to get more flavor for that cup of coffee? And I can then compare that. And I'm so used to what I've been doing for years that it gives me that baseline to be able to try different stuff and see how it changes it.
He says he makes a mess, which I guess that's just going to happen.
That's part of the process. I rinse my Chemex out right away. As soon as I pour it, I rinse it out. I actually use a reusable filter. I tried the metal ones. They didn't really work well for me. So I found one on Amazon. It's called a Coffee Sock. It's this little nylon filter. And so we have this problem here in Texas. You probably don't, Joshua. We have this problem in our backyard. There's bunnies that like to come out here and they like to eat our grass and destroy stuff. And so I actually take my coffee grounds out there, and when I see a spot that the bunnies have been, I put my coffee grounds there, and then they move on to another spot because they hate coffee and I love it. So I have this copious amount of just grounds that I've used, and I just take it out there and dump it in the grass. And that's what I do to clean that up. And then I just scrub the filter and I let it dry.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, when you're grinding your beans, you're going to make a mess. It's part of the process.
And Kirk says, you mean you don't have to burn it like Starbucks?
Oh, I thought that's what all coffee tasted like.
Right.
No.
Well, I'll throw a little compliment to Starbucks because if you go to any Starbucks anywhere in the world, you know what you're going to get.
Yeah,
that is true.
I've been to Starbucks in England. I've been to Starbucks in Athens. I've been to Starbucks in Dallas and Seattle. I've been to Starbucks almost everywhere that I've gone. And actually in England, we were walking around London. we went to Starbucks because they're the only ones that had bathrooms that were available. Everywhere else, there were no public bathrooms. And so, hey, let's go get a cup of coffee and go to the bathroom.
Yes.
But anywhere you go, you know what Starbucks coffee is going to taste like. It's consistent and consistently burned.
I was going to say that, but he said it instead. Yes. Yeah.
All right. You want to hit the next one?
So, all right. So on to a different topic. We could probably talk about coffee all day long. If you have more questions, please put them in the comments, and maybe Jared can get to them later on. Mm-hmm. So we know a few years back, you, Jared, were featured on the cover of Success magazine. We're not the only famous people around here.
That's right.
So tell us how that came about and what happened in the aftermath.
Okay. So, all about. So years ago, when I graduated from George Fox in Oregon, one of my best friends, one of the groomsmen in my wedding, he's one of the best guys on the planet. He went to Atlanta to do photography school after we graduated with our undergrad. And so there was a student ministry conference. The National Youth Workers Convention was in Atlanta that year. And so I was going to go down anyway. I found out he was living there. And so I shot him a text. I'm like, hey, you want to get together and just hang out? And he's like, yeah, you bet. So he and his wife were down there, and he sent me back a message and said, well, can I use you as a model? And I was like, me? Why? Like, sure, I guess if you want, I'll do whatever. So went over to their apartment, and they had set up like this coffee kitchen setting, and we took a bunch of pictures of me just doing stupid stuff with coffee. I drank out of the carafe and held the cup. I missed the cup with the coffee, just acting all tired and whatever. And it was fun. It was a great time. So he took those pictures and he finished his assignment. He got an A on it, like he nailed it. But he also took them and put them on iStock Photo. Turns out iStock Photo really liked them, so one of their editors, and so they featured one of those pictures as the photo of the week. And so it got picked up by different people and different organizations. They started using it for different stuff. And then in 2013, I woke up on April Fool's Day to a number of text messages from people saying, is this you? And I can't believe. So Success Magazine, for their April Fool's Day joke, they changed the name of their magazine from Success to Meh. Just MEH.
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 And they used one of those pictures that Chris took, and they made up a bunch of headlines like, how to get 2 hours of work done in only 8 hours, and how to grow a beard the easy way. My favorite headline was procrastination, what it is, and
that's hilarious.
Like, it was so good. So yeah, there's a number of it got featured on iFunny. It's been passed around the internet. It just kind of recirculates, and now those pictures get used by people. It's like if you go to a meme generator, there's a couple of meme generators that have it just like in stock. And if you type like tired and coffee, you can use that to make a meme. There's one that's out there that circulated around last year that was like, don't judge me. We all do what we have to not kill people. So yeah, that got featured on Success Magazine's April Fool's Day joke.
And
nobody knows who I am. I'm not famous. They don't know who I am. They have no idea. It's just a funny picture.
Well, but you had an experience on a billboard, right?
Well, I wasn't on the billboard. I was used in response to the billboard. So I grew up near Seattle, not in Seattle, but nearby in a town called Edgewood, which is just south of Seattle. So I'm a big Seahawks fan, a big Seattle sports fan.
We still love
you. It's okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. I tell people, hey, look, if you grew up in Dallas, cheer for your team. I don't care who you cheer for your team. I'll cheer for mine, you cheer for yours. When they play each other, we'll be friends afterwards.
What?
It's crazy talk.
That can't happen.
That's the way it goes.
No.
We can be friends during the game,
We're going to unfriend. Sorry, I shouldn't go there.
So many stories. So when the Seahawks played the 49ers in the NFC West Championship, whoa.
Sorry.
What are you doing, David?
That was unintentional.
That's cool. So the Seahawks played the 49ers. A 49er fan group bought billboard space on a digital billboard to show off their Lombardi trophies, which they got them in the 80s. So they're basically classics now, I guess.
Classics. Antiques.
So they were showing off their Lombardi trophies on a digital billboard on the side of I-5 in Fife, which is like 40 minutes away from Seattle. So, bragging, it wasn't anywhere near the stadium. So there's a Seattle sports fan group that replied to the billboard, and they put up a little meme, and they showed a picture of the billboard and said, "What you did in Fife, congratulations, it's not Seattle." And then how you thought we would respond, and they showed a picture of Jim Harbaugh screaming because the Jim Harbaugh angry face is seriously like the best face. It's so funny. And as a Seattle guy, I love watching Jim Harbaugh get angry. And then in response, they put up a picture of how we actually responded, and they used my coffee picture.
Meh.
That my friend took. It was like, whatever. I'm gonna drink coffee. You can just take your trophies.
That's awesome.
Because you're not getting another one.
That's awesome.
That's great.
It was fun.
Well, cool. Well, hey, we have had some great answers from you on coffee and ministry and all that sort of stuff. We're going to switch gears a little bit and do something, even though we've had a lot of fun.
Yes.
We're going to do something a little fun that we call 5 questions.
Okay.
5 questions.
All right. What are you binge watching right now?
Honest answer, nothing.
That's a
Love
good
it.
answer.
All right.
I've watched, The Mandalorian, even though it comes out every week.
Yes.
I've been watching The Mandalorian with our kids, and it's super fun.
It is.
Yep.
Agreed.
Oh, I saw that picture of your son in the Mandalorian outfit for Halloween.
Yes,
Yeah.
he was
That was awesome.
in the Mandalorian outfit.
That
It
is
was, he was darn cute.
Yeah.
Aww.
And a new episode today.
Yeah, it's Friday, new episode day. That's
great.
Right. Yes, got to celebrate that. All right, next
Maybe we'll
question.
get to see Baby Yoda eat something other than
eggs.
frog eggs.
That's hilarious.
I know. They got in trouble. Well, they got people angry about that. And I'm like,
Well, of course.
Of course.
people, it's sci-fi.
Right. It's not real.
The eggs aren't real. Baby Yoda's not real. Relax.
How do you really feel?
All right, question number 2. If you could have any other job than the one you have right now, what would it be?
What I grew up wanting to do. I wanted to be an Air Force pilot, fly really fast and blow stuff up.
Ooh. That's a really great answer.
I love it.
My dad was an aeronautical engineer, so I was always around airplanes, and I just wanted to fly. And then my eyes went, and I was 2450 in this eye and 2400 in that. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, there was no flying for me
No.
in my future.
No. I can appreciate that. What is your favorite to-go order?
Chick-fil-A number 2. I like the spicy chicken sandwich. And recently switched from root beer, though I love root beer, to their lemonade because it's fantastic.
Their lemonade is so good.
But you have to get the lemonade with light ice. If you get the lemonade with full ice, they're like, cup of ice.
And a little bit of lemon.
And then it's watered down.
Right.
Come on.
Everybody does that.
I know. And they're all wrong.
Yeah, I know.
What you should try is lemonade with Sprite.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
We do the mix. It's
the
good.
blend.
Yes.
You're blending your beverages now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm going to try that next time.
Okay.
It's really good.
Yeah, it is. All right. What are you reading right now?
Oh, a few things. I am going back through a book called Crucial Conversations because it's fantastic. I also just picked up a book about like 7 principles of the learner. So how people learn, because I want to be effective in communication. So making sure that I'm understanding how different people learn. And so we hit different ways that they learn. And that's, it's by Bruce Wilkinson, and really, really good. But then I also am continuing to read the Queen's Thief novels. My son picked them up. They're the Megan Wayland Turner just released the conclusion to the series. Literally, we bought the book for my son on a recommendation from our pastor, Wayne Broderick, and he read the first one in like a day or less. And he just wouldn't stop. And so he just kept, like, he would do anything to get this last book. It was delayed by a year, and he was so upset. But then he got the last one, and he read that in a heartbeat. He loved it. And so I've been reading those books. I'm on book 4, and it's really good. It's totally like this fiction teen novels, and it's really, really well done.
Nice. Very cool. Just as an FYI, Joshua St. John says Sprite released a lemonade and Sprite combo called Sprite Lemonade. So, yeah, interesting.
I wonder if it's as good as the Chick-fil-A.
It can't be as good as the Chick-fil-A.
It can't be.
Because that lemonade is just fantastic.
It is.
Okay, so they decide to make a movie of your life. Who plays you?
Some sucker. Actually, I would say Andrew Garfield.
Okay.
Because, a few years ago, one of my friends went and watched The Amazing Spider-Man, and on his way home, he called me. He was like, "Dude, I just watched you for 2 hours." I was like, "Okay, number one, that's creepy."
Yes.
I'm at home. If you've been watching me for 2 hours, you've got problems.
Yep.
And he's like, no, you don't get it. He goes, "We just came out of the theater. We just watched Spider-Man, and the entire time we were saying, this is Jared. Like, so there, and actually he wasn't the only one who said that. There were a few other people who were like, "Oh, you're like Andrew Garfield." Like, so we rented the movie one night, and my wife and I watched it together. It was like, kind of.
Yeah.
Now, when you watched it, were you hanging from a ceiling?
No, I was sitting on my couch.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
That's usually more comfortable.
Usually.
I think I had my
each
feet
their own.
up, drinking, sipping some coffee.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joshua St. John says Chris Maloney.
I have no idea who that is.
I think he's on like
I don't know.
like one of the SVU or the
We need to bring up
Law
a
and Order
photo.
shows. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can kind of see what he's thinking of.
One of the first Law and Orders,
I think
or
so.
like the 17th version of it. Since
Yeah,
NBC is basically Law and Order. Like,
right.
What else does NBC have?
That's pretty much it. I think you're absolutely right.
Let's see. We're
Sunday Night
Googling right
Football
now.
and following football.
Images.
We'll have Law and Order.
Right. Well, and
SVU Austin, whatever.
SVU Austin.
They'd have really weird cases.
They would. All right, hang on. I think I found a photo. We're gonna try to get this up on the screen. Whoop!
Traveler from SVU.
Goodness gracious!
All right.
I'm just destroying everything.
David,
What?
what are you
This is
doing?
what happens when I try to do too many things at once. Okay, there's that,
Right.
and then
Too many things
Okay.
open. He's got things all over the screen here.
I do. That's why I need a big screen. By the
Maloney.
way, one thing we forgot to mention to now I can't think of his name. That doesn't help.
What are you trying to say here?
I am use your words, David.
Soundfly?
Use your words. Oh goodness, I can't get anything to move. Okay, well I found a Chris Maloney picture, but I can't get it up. One thing we forgot to say to Bentley Burns, as far as a coffee that he might want to try.
Yes.
Because do we want to
Yeah.
talk about that?
Sure. That's it's just a fun thing that I started, and kind of a collaboration for our family. It was like, what can we do, and what do we enjoy doing And so my brother-in-law works for Youth for Christ. So really, my idea, instead of saying, "What just happened?"
Don't ask.
David.
Don't ask.
Stop playing.
I'm trying to find my photo. Okay, yeah.
Just stop.
Stop. I'm stopping.
You're cut off.
So just like brainstorming, having fun as a family one night around dinner, just kind of tossing ideas around. It was like, well, what if we start doing coffee and then like we'll roast it and sell it. It's something we can work on as a family. And then instead of like sending just a set amount to my brother-in-law and his family for Youth for Christ every month, what if we take like 20% of everything that people pay us for coffee and send that to them every month? And so that's kind of the direction that we're headed. We haven't gotten to that point yet. We have to make sure that nobody else has like a trademark or anything like that and file and do all those things.
Right.
Like it's all the stuff I don't like to do. I would rather just roast coffee.
Right. The fun stuff.
Give it to people.
Yes.
But there's the business side of it as well that has to happen.
Right.
And so we're working toward that as well. Right now I'm not shipping the coffee anywhere. We're keeping it local because and I roast it to order too. I don't roast like a big batch in advance and then let it sit around for a couple of months because
which is good.
I obviously don't agree with that. I don't think it's a good way to do coffee. I think it's always best if it's fresh. And I know it doesn't stay fresh for a really, really long time.
Yep. Well, and and Kirk, no, I don't think there's such a thing as a live broadcast without a glitch.
No, it's true.
It's
the fun of live, right?
That's right.
Anything can happen.
One of the things we're super excited about is we are talking with Jared about having a coffee chat coffee that you guys can pick up, and so hopefully we'll be getting more information on that soon.
It's got to be a Rwandan, right?
I think Rwandan is kind of blowing our minds.
We've kind of fallen in love completely with this. We did pick up some Summer Moon coffee when we were there, but like their Thanksgiving blend, just to try.
Blend.
Specialty.
But yeah, we figured that
this is incredible.
This blows our minds, and we love it, which is pretty much like us in our show. We blow your minds, and you love us. So goes perfect.
Here's a picture of
there
Chris
he is.
Maloney.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can see that.
With my blinds in the reflection. Sorry.
It looks
perfect.
Good. Well, hey man, I want to thank you so much for joining us. That this you just made the time fly. We appreciate you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And it sounds like we're gonna have to have a second one just all about tech. And we're gonna bring on Kirk as well. So Kirk,
my goodness,
drop us a message.
Be so fun.
Although we might spend half the time hearing Jared stories.
Right, we just need Jared stories.
Kirk, you in?
He said earlier. He said
he's in. Oh, I missed this one. Kirk said Hugh Jackman.
For sure.
There you go. I like that.
No, wait. I'm the unbuff version of Hugh Jackman. I'm like the skinny runner version of Hugh Jackman.
That's right. There had to be a time. There had to be a time.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch up with you.
Thank you for having me
really soon.
Cheers to good coffee.
Take care, my friend.
Amen.
Bye.
Oh, he's so much fun.
Isn't he
I love
great?
him so much. He's such a blast.
I love it.
Well, hey, next week we have another awesome guy, Roger Ellis. He's a longtime client of ours, super amazing children's pastor, just doing some incredible stuff in his community, and we're excited to talk to him about all of that.
Yes, indeed. So that is next Friday.
That's right. So thank you guys for joining us this week, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Any final thoughts?
Just, again, if you've got more questions about coffee, just put them in the chat, and either ourselves or Jared will try and get back to you as much as possible.
Exactly. All right, guys. Take care. Bye.
Bye.